Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode, the third episode actually, of Dear Authors. My name is Janae Brown, and I am the founder and the senior publisher of Open Book Publishing. And at Open Book Publishing, we take individuals' professional expertise and creative genius and turn it into a page-turning published book that inspires their readers. And so every Wednesday, we come together and we host a lunch and learn series called Dear Authors. And during Dear Authors, we connect and interview with published authors, service professionals, and other publishing professionals to give the inside scoop, share all the ins and outs of what it's like to publish a book and the ins and outs of the publishing industry. So today is a well necessary and well needed conversation about how do we balance it all, the balancing act. How do you be a high achiever professionally and personally, and then add author to your resume, add author to your already busy plate professionally and personally? And then once you become an author, how do you manage it all? How do you still continue to do it all and not lose your mind, right? So today I have two lovely ladies that I'm super excited to connect you guys with, who have a lot of insight on how to do this and how to do it right. So our very first guest is Miss Jennifer J. Dove. She has like a stage name already. I love it. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Janae, how are you?
I'm great, lady. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I know who you are, but for the people who are living under a rock, share with the people who you are.
So you've already shared my stage name, Jennifer J. Dove. I will say, I tell everybody, Dove is the gift that I got when I got married. So that is my
Love
husband's
that.
last name. So
Love
I am
that.
Jennifer J. Dove. I am known as the authority on authenticity. So I am a speaker. I am an authenticity coach, and I am author of the book Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. You can see the book cover on the wall behind me. So I teach successful career women to find their voice, to stand firm in their values, and to execute their vision so they can live a life of joy and fulfillment, because that's what we all want, right?
That's what we all
Yeah.
want. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Miss Jennifer J. Dove. And our second guest that we have is Miss Lakia Brandenburg, and formerly no, let's do that over. Her name was Lakia Brandenburg, also known as the lovely Miss LB. Hey, girl. Hey.
What's up, ladies? Happy What Would a Wife Do Wednesday.
Yes, yes. Did I butcher your last name?
No, Brandenburg. It's okay.
Brandenburg. Okay, okay. I was like, I hope I said my sister's name right. I
Yeah, you
always just call you LB. Hey, girl.
did.
Hey.
Ladies,
How are you, ma'am?
all is well in the ATL. How art thou?
I'm good. I'm good. So, for the other people who are living under a rock, Miss LB, tell them who just you are, ma'am.
So I am Lakia Brandenburg, better known as LB. I am the wife coach. I change married women into irresistible wives. I am a firm believer that all married women aren't wives.
Mm.
Somebody want to catch that? I'm going to say it again. All married women aren't wives. And so my whole goal is to help women to understand their position in their relationship and how they can really enjoy their marriage and the one they're doing marriage with. I have been married to my boo, my baby daddy, Derek, for almost 13 years. And I haven't always been a wife. But when you start really tapping into the power, the God-given power to execute your position and your role, you start seeing some amazing things happen. Influence, love, it's just another level of doing this thing called marriage. And we're having fun doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. And part of the reason, ladies, why I wanted the two of you for today's episode is because both of you guys work with, in my opinion, high achieving women
Okay.
professionally and personally. And to add to that, you guys are also high achieving women professionally and personally who have a published book. LB, you have two. Is that correct?
I do. My very first baby is picture perfect. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but together
Mhm.
we're
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
perfect. And the tiara, 5 ways to reign as queen of your castle.
Okay, so you guys, like I said, are published authors, are high achievers professionally and personally. And so you know what it's like to go through the publishing space,
Mhm.
become an author, and trying to balance it all, right? So let's just cut to the chase. How did you do it?
Well, I mean, hey, you want me to start, Jennifer? Miss
Go,
Dove,
you can go ahead. Go ahead, LB. Go ahead.
the name, the stage name. Well, let me just say this. I did not grow up as a little girl thinking I was going to write a book. That was
Mhm,
never something I said I wanted to be or do. I was a classroom educator. Like, I
mhm,
really thought that I was going to be teaching my students middle school language arts for 30 years. I was going to eventually get into the leadership role, and I was going to retire and live my life. But something happened as I was teaching, and I decided that, I had a story to tell. Like, I really wanted to tell my story on how my husband and I got together and created this picture perfect marriage that's based on a whole lot of imperfections. And my friend actually gave me the idea to write the book. I was teaching at the time. I had my oldest daughter, who is now 14. She was around, gosh, maybe 2 or 3 at the time.
mhm.
So I, again, didn't have any idea of writing this book until I sat down and said, I'm going to do it. And so for me, my time was very limited. I was a new wife. We're starting this family. I'm an educator. Y'all know the demands of being an educator. And I had to make time. Like, I really had to not find time, I had to make time to get it
Yeah.
done. So for me, it was about prioritizing it and being very intentional about the time that I did have. Like, I wasn't maximizing all of my time throughout the day until I realized, when do I have time to write? So I would get up early before my
Mhm,
house got up.
mhm,
I would take my lunch breaks on with my planning periods. I would close my light out, shut my door so my kids wouldn't be knocking. They love LB. I was Mrs. Arrington too. That was my daddy name. I got my husband name too. My gift, Brandenburg. But I would shut my door so that the kids wouldn't come in, and just really look for opportunities. When I went to the salon, while I was sitting under the dryer, instead of snoozing, I would capitalize on that time. So I made time to make it happen. And
mhm.
literally, before you knew it, a couple of words turned into thousands of words, and I had written my first draft.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And Miss J Dove, JJ Dove. Can we call you JJ Dove? I'm making a
Listen,
stage from
people
a
call
stage
people
name.
call me JJ Dove all the time. You would
They
be
do?
surprised at the
How
I
did
number
love
you
of
come
people
up
that
with
call me JJ
that?
Dove.
I
Yes, they do.
So, like, how did you do it? Because you work with high achieving women, because you are a high achieving woman who had to learn how to balance your mindset while you wrote a book on it.
Let me tell you, my story is a little bit different from
Okay.
LB's, but it's interesting how my story is different. But we're here together, right? So
Yeah.
I was the person, I was the woman that was high achieving. I was the woman that was in the corporate world. I was the woman that was all about climbing the corporate ladder. Yes, I was married and I had children, but I was all about climbing that ladder, getting at the top, been to the top, been all the way to the top. Everybody is like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. This is so great. And I was absolutely miserable. I tell
Mm,
people that I was an unhappy success. I was successful, but I was not happy. I was living a life that was not real. I
yeah.
was big on putting on fronts for people. And what happened was I got sick. And I
Mm,
said, you know what? I need to change my life. And so I did. And when I did that, I said, you know what? There are other people, other women that are probably experiencing the same thing that I'm experiencing. And if I can lessen the amount of time that women are miserable,
wow.
from sharing the lessons that I learned, I need to do that. And so I tried to write a book several times and it just did not come together. I was still working a 9 to 5, a mom, a wife, all of those things. So how am I going to do this is what my thought was. So I just started doing some research. And what I found was there was someone who was offering their services for a fee to help you to get your ideas down and write a book. And for me, because I was in that corporate world, I was in that corporate space, I know the power of investing in yourself. I know the power of getting help and getting outside services. So what I did was, and y'all know we all love Miss Jasmine Womack. Shout
Yes,
out to Jasmine
ma'am.
Womack.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, I enrolled in her program and just did what she told me to do. And I was
Mm,
able to write the book. Now I had to make time. So, this is the thing, the thing that we're talking about today. You have to make time for those things that you want to do. My husband always says you can make time for whatever it is that you want to do. If
that's
you want
right.
to sit down and watch Beyonce Homecoming on Netflix, how many hours is that? Right?
Mhm,
You
mhm.
do that. You make time for the things that are important to you. So I had to make the time, but having a coach streamlined that process for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really good. And I love how you guys have very different answers, but still necessary answers, right? LB made the time. Like she literally was not one of those people who's saying, I'll find the time. She was intentional about making the time where Jen, you were saying, like, I'm going to get support and I'm going to get help and I'm going to find a coach, which are both very good avenues to take when you are journaling to become an author. But let's now talk about once you become that author, right? Because now LB is a entrepreneur. She's not in the classroom anymore. And JJ Dove is still running things corporately, right? And so now we got a coach and we found the time to become the author. But now that you are an author and you have this on your plate, I like to tell people all the time that whether you go through traditional or self-publishing for your book, there's a
Mhm.
level of entrepreneurship that's tied to the book, period. This is your book, right? So now that you still have a full plate and you've now put published author on top of that plate, what is life like now and how do you guys manage that?
Oof. Well, let me go back to where it all started,
Okay.
2012, because where I am now, I think it's important to understand the journey. It is a journey. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we are so focused on the destination that we don't enjoy the journey and everything that we get from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget the day that my book arrived. My proof copy came in the mail. And I have a background in writing. I have a background in English. I have an English degree. So writing has always been my thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I never sought out a coach. I never thought to do those things. So I took a different route. We ended up at the same destination, but my journey was a little rough. And let me tell you why. When I finally decided that I got my proof, and I remember crying, and my husband was like, you want to do this thing? I want to, be a full-time author. I want to go on tour. I want to just, have people going to bookstores and, lining up. And my husband gave me some words of wisdom. He said, it takes 15 years to become an overnight success story.
Mm.
When he told me that, I was very offended. I couldn't believe he said that. You don't believe in me? I created a vision board. The word said, write the word, write the vision and make it plain. I was doing all that, very upset at what he said. But now, literally 10 years, 11 years later, I understand the journey that I had to go through. For me, life as an author, I didn't realize that there was life after writing the book, because the excitement, honestly, I had my book release party. I mean, you would have thought, I literally had everybody there. It just felt like I had arrived. And
Yeah.
I was buying my book and I was so excited. And then crickets,
Mm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
like immediately. It was like your album just hit. Y'all remember the episode on Fresh Prince when Ashley thought she was gonna be big with that one hit song?
Yes, I remember. I do.
That was me. Like I was like, oh my God, I wrote a book. This is it. People are gonna love it. They're gonna buy it. But I had no strategy. I had no plan. I just knew that I wanted to do something with the book. And
Mm-hmm.
it was very difficult for me to sell because, again, I didn't have the coaching. I didn't have the strategy. I didn't have the wisdom. And I actually started my own publishing company. That's what got me out there to start really reaching others and helping them. But I was just helping others to write and publish their book. Again, no real marketing strategy there. So life for me now, I have since hired a coach, Jasmine Womack.
Love her. Love her.
To do that, but I finally see the value in having someone who's done it to walk you through the process. So it's a lot easier. It's still work, But it's a lot easier on this end of the journey than it was when I first began. So I just think it's always important to share that part. You know, you sell your book, but you write your book, but once you publish it, you got to have a strategy in place to really produce the outcome that you desire. And I didn't know that there was more than just going to a bookstore writing a book. Like
Yeah.
I was really pretty, naive in a way. Like I thought that was it. Let me go to different festivals, sell my book. I'm gonna be all right. Nah, that's not how
Yeah.
it works out.
It's a little bit more sweat equity.
Yes.
Just a little bit. What about you, JJ Dove? How have you balanced all the things now that you've become an author?
I think one of the things that helped me is understanding that you go through all of this to write the book and you're so excited, and your friends and family and the people that associate with you are so excited and they all buy the book. And a lot of times with authors, they look at that as the goal, that's the end game. But the truth of the matter is that's the beginning of the game.
Correct.
Because your friends and your family can only buy so many books. I mean, what are they going to do with 10 copies of the same book? I mean, so it's really the beginning of the process, and understanding that if you want traction with your book, if you want other opportunities that are associated with your book, you have to do work. There is work that has to be done. So just like you get up, if for those of you all that have a 9 to 5, like I do, if you get up and every morning and go to work and do the duties there, you have to look at your book the same way. You have to put that time in, that dedication, and it is truly a balancing act. Now, this is something that might be controversial, and a lot of women may not agree with me, but as someone that has a full-time job, that has a business, that has a daughter that's a senior in high school, a son that just started middle school, a husband that is retired military and is running his own real estate business, I am telling you that it's a balancing act, and you are not going to be able to be at 100 in everything at all times. You are not going to be able to be 100 at home with doing the laundry and cooking, 100 with your kids, 100 with your husband, 100 with your 9 to 5, and 100 with your book. But you have to be okay with that and understand it's a balancing act. Nobody is perfect, right?
Yeah.
And we have to just take things as they come.
That's real.
Can I
That's real.
add to what
Of
Jennifer,
course.
JJ Dove just said? Because honestly, y'all, balance is bull. Like I just call it what it is. Balance is bull. And so what you have to do is really look for harmony. And
Yes.
because like Jennifer said, everything won't be at 100. If you look at your life like a pie chart, like this week, because I am a full-time entrepreneur, my husband's a full-time entrepreneur. My husband might get 20% of my time. My kids, they're demanding 60 in this season. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
each week changes, but you have to know that's the reality of life, and being able to embrace that. So even as a full-time entrepreneur, I haven't been in a classroom in 10 years, and I've had to learn how to build a business off of my book.
Yeah.
Learn, and there's no authors in my family. There's nobody to teach me how to do this. And so that's why it's so important not to go down a road that you've never been on by yourself without soliciting the help or creating a space where that help can come in and guide you along the way, because that's what pretty much got to me. I was just being an author.
Yeah. LB, can you go back to, you said balance is bull, it's about harmony.
Yes.
What is the difference between balance and
Absolutely.
harmony?
Yeah, well, see, balance is equality. We're looking to balance. Think of balancing the scales, right? And harmony for me is prioritizing those things that just mean so much to me. So when it comes to prioritizing, for example, my business, yes, of course, I want to make sure my business is successful, but family for me is number one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been number one, like
That's right.
literally number one. So I am going to make sure somehow, some way, myself is going to be put first. So that's why I do my morning runs. If y'all in my stories, I go running or I work out with my husband. That's our way of creating dates. See, that's making time. That's date day for us sometimes, because we're so busy throughout the week that we can't find time. We got to make it. And so that was me going back to writing my book. When I was making time to, really get my book done, I have to make time to prioritize what's important to me. So harmony is more, it feels good. Like I understand again that it's not going to be 100, but it's finding that harmony in creating more harmony in your life to where things
Mhm.
feel balanced.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So here's something that you guys have touched on when we talked about the coach, but all we've talked about is the coach. But I know that your team, your community is extends beyond just your coach, right? So can we talk about what does community look like when you become an author, and if it is important?
Jennifer, gone. You start.
Well, well, this is the thing. None of us can operate or survive in a silo. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, you might be the type of person that tries to do it all or take it all and handle it all, but it's not possible.
Yeah.
We all need support. And when I say support, I don't necessarily mean financial support. I just mean a listening ear, or somebody that when you are feeling like, you know what, this is not even going to work. Just someone in your corner that says you should keep going. You
Mhm.
should you should do this. So that type of community, that type of people around you that support you. Because I will tell you something. People think writing a book is great, and it is, but whenever you do something outside of what your norm is, everybody in your circle is not going to be cool with it.
I'm so glad you said it. Oh, I'm so glad you said
Yeah.
it.
Everybody's not going. Why you writing a book? Well, I think I could probably write a book too. Well, my thought is, well, you should, right? I mean, it's enough to go around for everybody. You should write a book, but that community, and also let's talk about the community of readers. Once you get the book
Mhm.
done and you get the book published and you get the book out there, you have to nurture those people who trusted you enough to spend
Right.
money on a product that you produce, and then they read it and they're willing to provide you feedback. You have to nurture those people. You have to understand that these people are also supporting you. And the thing about that is, a lot of these people are supporting you and they don't even know you.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to embrace all of these people, your friends and family, your author community that's supporting you, but also the people who read, your readers who read your book and want more, and want to know what the next steps are, and want to know how they can stay connected to you.
Yeah.
All of that is important, because when the next book comes, those are going to be the first people that come to get your book.
Mhm. Mhm. 1,000%. What about you, LB?
Good.
How is community for you? Is it important?
Of course. And I'll come from the angle of the community that I've created with my wives. So I've been working as the wife coach and having different cohorts to where my ladies are coming together. They want to stay married.
Mhm.
Okay. They want to get married. They want to stay married. And at this point, we want to enjoy being married. We just don't want to do this thing called maybe 30 years in and y'all roommates. No, we ain't doing that. So what we're building is a community of women who support the institution of marriage and
Mhm.
understand their role as wives, and being able to share, not just vent and complain, but look at, what, how can I be better? They're looking for ways for them to grow and develop. And I love that community because it's creating friendships, it's creating accountability, all of these different things from them being brought together. Why? Because I wrote a book. So it all
Mhm.
stems from this.
Yeah.
Me taking the content that I've written, creating a program that's going to help women to have their own picture perfect marriages, for them to have, be their own irresistible wives. So I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that community is important, and it's the right community though. So you got to look
Mhm.
at how Jennifer, you and I, and Janae, how we are connected. It's from the leader. Like if our leader wasn't on point, then I probably wouldn't want to be connected to y'all. I'm gonna be like, well, who them people
Yeah.
lead? But
Right.
look at who's leading this thing, and how I've been able to spread my wings and grow from the people I'm connected with now, and we're
Mhm.
connected with each other. So it's a beautiful thing, and I think, like Jennifer was saying, you should not do this thing alone. There's no need to. It's
It's
more
no
fun
need
to do it
to.
with people anyway.
Yeah, it's much more fun with people for sure. And so, can we go a little bit deeper? Because a lot of the viewers for this episode are high achievers, men or women,
Mhm.
professionally or personally. So, when we talk about community, did you guys have to communicate to staff or to your coworkers about what you were doing and to give you grace? Did you have to talk to your siblings? Did you have to talk to your spouse? Did you have to talk to your children? How did you have to foster your existing community to be able to do this seamlessly or as seamless as possible, seamless-ish?
So I will say this. Number one, LB is the wife coach. So let me just say this. I've been married for 22 years. And, my husband and I have the agreement that we don't do anything as major as writing a book without sharing that with each other and
Mhm.
understanding and communicating and understanding what that's going to mean for the household. We have kids. So
Yeah.
if I'm spending time writing, what does that mean for the responsibilities and the duties? So I definitely shared it with my husband. I shared it with my close friends. I shared it with my parents, of course, my siblings and all of that, because I am fortunate that I have a very, very supportive family. And I
Mhm.
recognize that everybody doesn't, right? So
Yeah.
you have to be really mindful of that. Now I will share because I'm in the corporate world. I
Mhm.
was very limited about what I shared when I was writing the book.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
I was writing the book during a time where, for my job, like a lot of people, we were working from home because of everything with COVID. So I had to
Mhm.
be really mindful of what people would think. Oh, so you're working from home. Are you really working? Or you wrote a book. You wrote a book while we were working from home. So I had to think about that and be really mindful. And so everybody needs to be mindful of their situation. Now, I did not lie to anyone. And
Okay.
my direct, the person that supervises me, we're both high up in the company. I definitely shared with her. I shared with her because she was supportive. I knew that she would be
Mhm.
supportive. I did not share with anyone else in my job until the book was done.
Mhm.
Okay.
When the book was done, I shared it, and it kind of went crazy. The book kind of went crazy in my workplace because the people, the women that I wrote the book for, are women that are working.
Your coworkers.
So yeah,
Mhm.
they could relate to it. But I just say, I will say to any author, you have to be aware. And I talk about this a lot with my clients. You got to be aware of who's around you.
Mhm.
Have to be aware of what people think and how people are going to react. You have to be aware that everybody is not going to cheer on your success. And if
Mhm.
you already know that, then it's no need in sharing with them, because what we don't need is more people telling us what we can't do. What we don't need is more people putting us down. What we can't need is more people projecting their own disappointments in themselves on
Mhm.
us, because
Amen.
we're doing something that maybe they wanted to do and they did not find the time or the energy to do it. And I encourage people to do what you want to do. That's one of the things that I talk about in my coaching program. We
Yeah.
have to get to a point where we are fulfilling our own needs by doing the things that we want to do. But you just have to be really mindful. You have to know who you're dealing with. You just can't openly share everything while you're doing it, because it can become a hindrance to you to keep you from getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, JJ Dove.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat this up. LB, what you got, sis? What are your thoughts
Well,
around
we're
that?
often told to move in silence, right? And so I believe that that's half true. Move
Okay.
in silence, but you need the accountability and you need someone who's in your corner that's supportive. So when it came to my community, of course, I'm I'm married. My husband is my number one fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm letting him know because now my day to day is going to look different. And I may be a little stressed out. I may need some words of encouragement and I might feel like I can't do it. And I may be questioning this whole thing. So I need somebody in my corner. So my husband knew, my mom, my sister, so my family that I know who got my back. Um,
Okay.
and I'm going to school now with my big old notebook. This is y'all. I was carrying my book in a 3-ring binder, like them real thick 3-inch joints.
You were
Remember
not
that?
LB.
I think I looked 2011, 2010. So I would print it out because I'm like, I have to write stuff. Like typing it is cool, but I got to sometimes write. It's just something with me and paper and pen. But I would take that to school every day, and people wondering, what is that? And
My
I'm like,
business.
Look, my book. I'm writing a book. They're like, oh, like everybody say they're writing a book. 10 years later, most people are still writing their books. So it was a surprise when I came up and was like, here the invitation to the book release party. Like, what? This really wrote a book? I sure did. And so my husband, I promise y'all, my book was my opportunity to walk away from teaching. And so I felt like I had to prove something to him too to keep my word.
Yes.
I'm telling you I'm going to do this. I'm asking you for your support. I'm telling you I want to leave my comfortable, secure job to come out here in La La Land and say, it's going to work out. And I need your support. So my husband knew from the get-go when I was writing it, the road ahead. I didn't know, but he could see what I was going to have to go through. So I needed that support. I needed him in my ear telling me it's going to take 15 years to be an overnight success story. I needed that because now 10 years later, okay, baby, you right. I'm wrong. You right.
If I just want to add one thing that for those authors that have children, you would be surprised at how your children support you when they know what you're doing. When I told my kids that I was going to write a book, they never doubted that at all. They said, oh, my mom said she's going to write a book, so I know she's going to write one. And they were, when I would get discouraged and say, I'm just not going to get this done, my kids would say, yes, you are. You're going to get it done. You're going to write the book. I mean, so sometimes, it comes from the places that we least expected. My husband, I knew because of the type of person that he is, I knew that he was going to support me. He is the realist in the relationship. Okay. I'm the crazy one. He's the realist. I knew he was going to support me, but I was surprised at how my children just encouraged me, and they never had an ounce of doubt that I would do it.
That's good. That's good. So tell me, what is the mindset of an author who has a lot on their plate? What is the mindset that is necessary to get the job done?
The mindset of an author that has a lot on his or her plate.
Yeah, what is the necessary mindset? What type of mindset does one need to embrace who already is a high achiever professionally and personally? And now we're going to add some more achievements onto the plate. What mindset do we need to have? And everybody's going to call it a growth mindset. Yes. But what does that look like for a high achiever professionally and personally who want to add a book to their resume and then have the book sell? What mindset do you need? Like, let's just call it a thing.
That's a good one. Okay.
If I may, I think one of the things is that I had to understand as a high achieving person, as someone who, had a lot of responsibility at work and can make things happen and get things done. I think the number one thing that I have learned in this process, and a mindset you have to have, is that perfection does not exist. There is no such thing as being perfect. And so I talk about this in my book. One of the things that I would do, I would have what I call perfection paralysis. So if it couldn't be perfect, I would do nothing. If I couldn't figure out how to make it perfect, then I would just sit there and say, well, I can't make it perfect. So you know what? Until I can figure that out, I'm not going to do anything. But one thing that I learned that you have to have in your mindset when you're an author, when you are a professional, when you are doing whatever it is, all the other things, when you're doing all the things, you have to remember that clarity comes with action. LB, what is the thing that you say all the time?
Oh, baby.
What is it?
Confusion costs.
Right. Clarity saves, confusion costs. Put LB down give LB credit for that. You need to trademark that, LB.
Yes, she does. I remember the first time, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Jennifer, but I remember the first time I heard LB say that, at the church, how you want the people to be hitting the pastor. Preach well, Doc. That's what my brain was like. What did she just say?
Well, that's the mindset for me. That's it. That's my answer. Thank you, JJ Dove. No, seriously.
For the people in the back, what is the mindset, LB?
So here it is. Clarity saves, confusion costs. A lot of times when we're writing our books, this you can apply this to any area in your life. Since we're talking about authors, let's talk about it. I
Okay.
had to get clear on what type of author I wanted to be, what type of messaging I really wanted to put out there, the type of clients I wanted to work with, the type of audiences I wanted to speak in front of. And let me tell you something, it came from me being confused.
Mm.
And that confusion cost me a lot. It
Yeah.
cost me money, it cost me time, it cost me frustration, it cost me
Yes.
stress. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you start getting clear, that coach, that community brings the clarity. And
Mm.
you have to be comfortable with understanding that that's that harmony. It's going to be a little bit of confusion here, and there's going to be some
Yeah.
clarity. But once you get that clarity, it's going to save you so much heartache. It's going to save you so much money. It's going to save you so much peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really thank you for bringing that up, JJ. I appreciate you, baby. Another one for the mindset is be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
stepping into new territory. Yes, I
Yes.
have a writing background. Yes, I taught language arts. Okay, you know the subject, got to agree with the verb. Yeah, I taught all that. But writing a book, totally different game. It's a totally different ballpark. Like I had to really shift my mindset in writing not just writing a book, but a message that was going to impact others.
Big difference. Big difference. Big difference. And so we are talking to high achievers, okay, who, correct me if I'm wrong, who think they know it all. Can we
Yeah,
call it
Mrs.
spade?
Know-it-all. Yeah, Mrs.
You know,
Know-it-all. This.
who think they know it all. And so how do we tell? How do we teach? What type of tips do we give a high achiever who is accustomed to success? Okay, like the reason why high achievers know it all is because people always tell them, "You right." I say it all the time, right? People be like, "You right?" I be like, "I'm always right. When am I wrong?" Because people always say, "You right." Clearly, I must not be wrong. You know, what do we tell people? High achievers are arrogant. You know,
Yeah.
high achievers
Yeah.
are accustomed to success because they have been a high achiever. So, how then do they literally change their mindset to not be a perfectionist and still could pat themselves on the back? Or how do they shift their mindset to be willing to be teached and coached and confused until you can get to that? How does a high achiever do that?
Jen?
Oh, okay. So, if I'm just keeping it real, I am a high achiever. I am reformed. However,
Okay, maybe I need to work on that. But go
okay,
ahead.
so I was the type of person that I knew what I was talking about, and if somebody else said contrary to that, I would just be like, you know what, whatever. I know what I'm talking about. But the thing about this is this: when you're high achieving and you have success on the back end to prove it, that's one thing, right? But if you are writing a book and you're so successful and you know everything, where's the book? Where's the book? I mean, because a lot of times with high achieving people, you have to come to them like that. You can't come to them, oh, you really should think about changing your mindset. You have to look at it. Okay, so you're a high achiever. You know how to produce. You know how to get things done. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I know you know that. But in this field, if you are high achieving, if you are so great, where is the book? Why is it not done? You know what it takes to get everything done. And so a lot of times, I know for me, I had to have a moment where I was humbled. Because when you are, like you were saying, being high achieving, you tend to be arrogant.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I'm telling you, life humbled me. I talk about this in my book. I ended up in ICU. You don't get much more humble than that.
Yeah.
And so you have to really look at what it is that you want. If you really want to be an author, if you really want to have a message that's going to impact other people, then you're going to have to humble yourself to do the work necessary to make it happen. If you want to call yourself author, not only call yourself author, because a lot of people can call themselves authors, but don't have books that impact the masses, right? Or don't have books that impact a target audience. If that's what you want to do, then you're going to have to figure out what it is that you need to do. Throw all the other things that you have used to climb the corporate ladder out of the window and actually do the work. If that means starting from scratch, if that means figuring it out from step one, then you're going to have to humble yourself to do that. And then after you write the book, you can go on back to being arrogant and say, yeah, I did it. I wrote the book. Here it is.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I'm going to take it from the approach what I tell my wives. If you're always Mrs. Right, you're wrong.
Woo, child.
If you're always Mr. Right, you're wrong. So it comes from the point of, I've never done this before. I know I can figure things out. I know I'm smart, but I need some help. And I don't know why we look at asking for help as a sign of weakness. Baby, that's your strength. In this community we ask for help so that we can get better. So I think when you get to a point where you feel like you've arrived, where you can't learn anything else, baby, you're going to be humbled, right? You're going to be knocked down and realize like, oh, okay, so there are some things I can still learn on this here called this place on earth. So I would say come from the approach of, if I'm always right, or if I feel like I figured it out, then I'm wrong. So let me look for different perspectives on how I can achieve what it is I want to. And then I can say, I was right. I did it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's the humble approach, like you said, JJ, but really realizing that you're not always right. Like you're not.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So here's my last questions, ladies. I don't think it's as heavy as the other questions, but so high achievers are accomplished, they're successful. Some of them have degrees, some of them are senior leveled entrepreneurs, all those great, amazing things, right? Why should they write a book?
Oh, I'm actually one of my favorites of realizing, I'm going to say this at Six Figure Storyteller Live as well, because your book will get you booked. Like your book, the success that I have, the connections I have, the opportunities I'm granted is because I simply wrote a book. And my book has gotten me speaking opportunities, has gotten me through the doors that I want to enter. Mm-hmm. And I know that if I didn't have this, my business card to say, hey, and it's establishing me as a professional, it's establishing me as a thought leader, right? This is what it took for me to get on that stage. So I say your book will get you booked.
Dope.
For me, I say two things. One, it makes you the subject matter expert. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I can talk to you about authenticity. I mean, that's a word that people use all the time. That's a buzzword. What does that even mean, right? What does that mean? But it makes you a subject matter expert, because if I can literally say, well, I wrote the book on that.
Yeah.
It makes you a subject matter expert, but also for me, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, for my book, it allows me to give women the opportunity to lessen the amount of time that they have to suffer because they do not know what to do. They know that they are successful, but they know they are miserable, and they think that they're the only ones that feel that way. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to even articulate. I was a vice president at a company, and when I told people I need to get out of there, everybody was like, what? Mm-hmm. Why? You're a VP. Nobody could understand that. And so it makes women feel isolated. Mm. So my book allowed them to see it's not just you that's feeling that way, and it's okay. So if you're the subject matter expert and you can have impact on people, if I can shorten people's time of misery in their lives so they can get to joy and fulfillment, then why shouldn't I do that?
Absolutely.
Did I hit a school bell?
You heard the school bell because they're about to kick us off. So, ladies, this was so great. Thank you for joining episode 3 of Dear Authors. But before we go, ladies, can you tell high achievers how to stay connected to you lovely ladies?
JJ Dub, kick it off, baby.
So, listen, y'all making me feel like I need to change all my stuff to JJ Dub.
I love that.
You know what? I really might consider that. Let me get on GoDaddy after this conversation and see.
Okay,
my website
is
www.jenniferjdove.com. On social media, everywhere, Jennifer J. Dove. please connect with me. I will gladly talk with you, share your experiences with me. Thank you so much, Janae, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Miss LB, where can they find you, lady?
Yes, my playground is Instagram. So you can find me at The Wife Coach. And for my ladies who are married and want to take their marriage to the next level, I want to invite you to join me next week, October 5th, for my The Making of an Irresistible Wife free training that I'm offering for you. Just DM me the word irresistible. I'll send you the link so that you can register.
Awesome, awesome, ladies. Thank you again for joining us for episode 3 of Dear Authors. And you guys know that I am Janae Brown. You can find me in Open Book Publishing at the bottom of the screen, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We are all there at Open Book Publishing, and also visit our website at www.obpublishing.com. And as always, we always close our Dear Authors with a word of encouragement. So my encouragement for today, authors, is dear author, give yourself the grace to be a beginner. I know that you're a high achiever. I know that you are a shot caller. I know that you have all of these accolades, but in this space, you are new to the game. So before you become true to the game, give yourself grace to be a beginner. All right, good people. Thank you for another wonderful episode of Dear Authors. We'll be here same time, same place next week, next Wednesday at 12:15. We will see you then. And until then, have a wonderful Wednesday.